start with an opening statement from Coach Lawson, and we'll open it up for questions.
I haven't really looked at the stats yet. Well, this isn't even the first half, so I'll be wrong. But I think what I was most pleased with our group is we kept our composure when they went on runs to start the game, and then that big momentum shot by Nakia to end the first quarter, and even in the second half when they turned us over a few times and got layups. We just stayed focused and stayed locked in and didn't allow the emotions of the game to overtake our execution. And then when we needed to score late in that fourth quarter, just keep that lead, keep them away in the scoring margin, we were able to execute and do that. And that's big growth for us. I said this to start ACC play. We haven't been in a lot of close games yet this year. They had a little bit more experience in that, not just this year, but over time. That group's been together a while, and so you never really know how your team's going to react in a close game situation or really important possessions, fourth quarter. And so I'm pleased with how we executed that.
You mentioned some of those momentum swings. It seemed like every time State went on one, Celeste Taylor would drain a clutch bucket. I mean, how big was she for Duke tonight?
Yeah, I mean, she carried us offensively, and even in the first half when we were having a hard time getting going against their defense, she was just kind of like the player that could make plays for us. And Celeste is everything for us. I mean, she's a great leader. She organizes us on offense and defense. She knows how to play every position on the floor, offensively and defensively, and she just communicates out there well. I thought defensively she was really good on the perimeter too. I might have thought her defensive game was better than her offensive game, if you can believe that. So she's a great all-around guard, and I sure am happy she's here at Duke and I get a chance to coach her.
Jim?
Kerry, you talked about your team's composure, 15 for 15 from the foul line on the road, and against a really good team in high-pressure situation. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I didn't know we were that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. They were focused, and when you get in that foul game down the stretch, I think they started to foul around 47.3, maybe seconds left. You got to make a couple of them to keep that margin, and I think Shy stepped up and made two late, and Kennedy stepped up and made two late. You got to get those free ones because against a good team like them, it's hard to get those points back. And so I'm proud. I didn't know we had that, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of Shy, it seems like she's made, in the last few games, she's made a big step forward as a facilitator. Can you talk about her development as a playmaker?
Yeah, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. It's really good for your point guard. And, Shy's young. She's 19. She's learning how to run a team, and she's worked hard this year. There's been improvements, and tonight I thought she did a solid job of running our team, getting the ball where it needs to go. And she's obviously can score, but running the team is something that she's continuing to grow in. So these experiences are just so valuable to be in a road environment, to be in a close game. Hopefully we can take a lot from this game moving forward.
You all had, I think it was 17 or 18 turnovers in this one. Same with State, it was a lot of turnovers in general. How were you all able to operate the fast break so well in this one especially, which is how quickly that pacing to pick up after the first 5 minutes of the first quarter?
Yeah, I was enjoying this press conference till you talk about the turnovers.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. We had way too many of them, and unfortunately, they took away some scoring opportunities for us. And I have to credit NC State. They were active and they got aggressive and tipping balls and being there. I thought they outworked us for long stretches in the second half, and it was just getting turnovers and getting offensive rebounds. And so we still obviously clearly have, if you watch this tonight, we have a lot of work to do. And turnovers is an area that we've got to be better because it's really hard to beat good teams by itself, but if you're giving them 17 extra times with the ball, it can get hard. So hopefully that's something we can keep working on and improve.
Looks like you've been working the inside-out game a little bit more. Kennedy Brown being a little bit more effective, scoring some points. That's big for what you're trying to do there, right?
having a player like Kennedy is unique for me in my time at Duke, and I know I've not been here very long, but at the start of my 3rd season, I've not had a player like her. That's a go-to player down on the block that we could throw it to, and she can score, and she can play make. So she's a pivotal part of what we do. You know, having that balance that you talk about, you have guards that can slash and can score, but you really need anchors down low that can get you buckets when you need them. And so I'm just really pleased where Kennedy is. She keeps growing within our system, and she's a really good player for us. And I thought she was solid tonight. And you know, she's just at 6'6", she also defends the rim. I don't know how many blocks she had, but maybe she had, or she didn't. She had 2 of them. He had 3 of them. So that's another part about Kennedy, that defensively she really helps us guard the paint and helps her teammates when they get beat off the dribble to save some buckets.
Have time for a couple more, Jim?
Carol, let me ask you about Reagan Richardson. She struggled in the first half. She comes out in the second half. She's very aggressive. She's very assertive. She didn't let that slow first half bother her. Just talk about the way she was able to put that in the rearview mirror and help your team win in the second half.
Yeah, I'm so proud of Reagan because she has struggled with that. She has struggled with, and we all struggle with this as people, like when something's not going your way, keeping a good attitude and staying confident in yourself. Maybe when you haven't played a good quarter or a good half. So for her to come out in that second half and jumpstart us with those transition finishes, which were not easy, both of them on the left side. And then I thought she hit a big-time 3 late. You know, that really kind of gave us that final separation we needed. And so I told her that after the game. I felt it. I told her, if you watch the film in the second half, when it starts, I ran down the corner to talk to her while the play was going on, and I told her, I said, you're going to have a big second half. You know, you're going to have a good one. And I think when players, that's one of the most fun parts about coaching, is when you see players overcome certain things that maybe they personally have struggled with. You guys might know not a lot about it, but we're with them every day, and that's something Reagan struggled with. So now to see her bounce back and have that type of performance in a game that we needed her, I'm just proud of her, and that's a good breakthrough for her.
Lawrence?
This season you guys have been pretty talented offensively, but defensively you guys have held pretty much every opponent under 60 points. What's been the recipe on defense this year?
I think the recipe to be a good defensive team is you have to have players that are committed to that end and that give all-out effort, and that's what they do. And we have a group, I mean, we're deep, and so when we got in foul trouble a little bit in that first half, we put players in and the intensity stays. And so we talk about it, we practice it, you know, daily, the intensity on that end, and that's changed things for us. We were a poor defensive team a year ago, that's my fault. And so one of the things as a staff that we really focused on in the offseason and our players really worked on was to get better on that end. And it's nice to see, you know, that it's showing. But we have 16 more games in the league. We have to hope it keeps showing itself.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you all.